We all understand the type of climate that we're dealing with. We're dealing with multiple offer situations.
I'd love to know sort of what's your why? What makes you tick? Why are you so successful?
Have a dialogue with your lawyer. Have a dialogue with your agent.
Both sort of passionate about sort of what we do.
Again, vet your agent to make sure that they're experienced and they're local. I like that idea.
No excuse to miss it on Saturdays from 8 to 9.
That's right.
WBZ.
And now, the show that gives you the latest and most relevant housing market news. Real Estate Radio Boston with financial expert Rick Shearer and legal professional Ali Alavi.
Michael, your client list. You've worked with the Red Sox and the Bruins and the Celtics, and some of the top different people in this marketplace. And I see your resume of properties that you've sold, $10 million, $15 million, $20 million in real estate. Those people that you're listing their home and you're selling this ultra luxury, where are they going? Where give us some examples. Are they leaving Boston? Are they going into the city? Are they downsizing from the
Mega mansion that
300 square, 30,000 square foot house? What are you seeing? Is there a trend in the suburbs going into the city? What are you seeing there?
I think each transaction is different, but in a lot of cases, it's downsizing. They don't need that 20,000 square foot home anymore.
Right.
Perhaps they want to spend more time in warmer climates.
Right.
I think every case is a little bit different.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you've been in the business since 1983. You've seen 3 cycles. In my opinion, I think you're the perfect person to ask this question. Are we at the end of yet another cycle?
I think we're in the 8th inning of a game.
Okay.
Okay. 8th out of 9 innings, not extra innings.
Out of 9 innings.
We're not going into.
But it's not catastrophic. It will come back. It'll correct, and it will come back. And I think that, and we talked about this earlier. It's debt driven. Mm-hmm. I've never seen a situation where somebody could not wait something out in the Boston market, because it will. If it goes down, it will come back up.
Right.
We talked earlier. We did a project, and we were the first ones to hit $200 a square foot, which people said, "You're out of your mind."
Yeah. What year was that?
1984.
Okay.
$200 a square foot.
Right.
You're crazy.
Yeah.
And so you hit certain thresholds. Then you hit 500 a foot, and then you hit 1,000 a square foot, and 2,000 a square foot, and there will be a saturation point at some point in time, and the cost of money certainly attributed to a lot of this.
Exactly.
We have a lot of real estate agents in here that do some of the luxury markets. They've got clients that are in the $1 million to $2 million range, and that's typically what we see around here. You work in the ultra luxury market, the 5, 6, 7, 10 million. Are you seeing those properties flying off the shelf? What is typically a waiting period on a property like that in general? Obviously, there's different markets, but like if you're in the Weston or the Wellesley area. Is the marketing time, the lead time to find that perfect buyer, a month, a year? What are you seeing there?
Well, that's a good question. The Western market is a market that we know well. We've had a couple of significant sales in the last couple of months there, and
a significant. Give us the significant.
$5 million.
Okay.
We have something for $10 million right now. There's over 100 homes for sale in Weston.
Oh wow!
Right now, there's nothing wrong with Weston.
Right. Oh, beautiful
People
town.
would say, 100 homes for sale. Is there something
What's
wrong
going
with the
on?
water?
Let's go. Right.
But it's for a variety of different reasons. So I think there is a mass exodus into the city.
One of the things that the buyer agents tend to do is stay in different geographical areas. So, of course, you've got Boston, the epicenter. That's the and then you've got the North Shore. You've got this Andover area, and then you've got the South Shore. You've got the Hingham area, and then you've got Weston and Wellesley and some of those communities as well. How do you get around the fact that maybe the agent in Boston doesn't have a grasp on the neighborhoods in Hingham as opposed to Andover as opposed to Wellesley?
Well, a couple of things. One, we don't believe in having large coverage areas for each agent. So the way we work is we do no business in downtown proper. We only work in the suburbs. So we talk to families. Every family will start out with their personal strategist and really figure out exactly where as a starting point, they should look. Okay, so that's the first part. The second part is really once we figure out that they should look in Wellesley, for example, that's going to be a particular agent that we partner with in that area. So we don't have our own agents. We employ corporate strategists, which, again, it confirms our objectivity and we're not pushing people in any one direction. So that particular agent will cover just that particular town for us. In addition to, we also have, as our model indicates, a local, which is somebody who lives in that town, to help them understand that area as
so
well.
The business model is essentially creating relationships with established agents, but what you do is you essentially do the legwork for the buyer in order to be able to hone in on what geographical area best suits them.
Right. We have a ton of, again, we utilize a bunch of technology, and we have specific local agents in every single town that's commutable to downtown. And we train those agents to work in the Suburban Jungle Way. They're part of our deal team. But the reason we keep them separate is because we want our clients to come back and say, you know what, I'm not sure about this house. I'm not sure about this town. And they're, keep in mind, they're also looking in a few different areas. Our goal is to really show them, some opportunities, really think about areas that they may not have come up with on their own, and really, again, make sure that they're asking the right questions and looking in the right places. The local agents that we partner with and that are part of our deal team, again, are trained in our proprietary technology. They're trained to work with our team and as part of our team, but yet remain separate, if that makes any sense.
We're talking about projects with work, live, play features. Not everybody can afford those amenities. Not everybody can afford those developments. And the trend now is, you're talking about $2,000 a square foot. We were at $200 a square foot in the 80s. And where is workforce housing finding these opportunities to, in fact, live in the city? You're talking about there is workforce housing, there is ultra luxury, and then there's guys that are police officers, firefighters, paramedics. Where are these guys finding housing? You're helping those clients, is that correct?
Yeah, well, as we referenced earlier, my last two transactions have been with Boston firefighters who were required to live in the city for 10 years. Those two individuals just happened to move to Hyde Park. In addition to that, I think when you're talking about workforce housing, I think we're seeing that pop up around, transit stations such as Ashmont, Forest Hill Station. You look at West Roxbury, this highly contentious issue about the Armstrong Labs, converting that to units of housing for rental, which scares people sometimes, but but
it's still needed though. Not everybody can afford to qualify for mortgages and things like that. So rentals is also important for the people who do wait on you when you go into the city, and do help. Again, that whole Boston, the whole Boston experience. You need the people there that can afford to rent.
Yeah.
I think it's important for those, college students that, want to stay here after college. They start a job and then hopefully, they become a client of mine or some of the other guests that you've had here on the show in the past.
You deal with some really interesting neighborhoods. You deal with West Roxbury, Rosendale, Hyde Park, Dorchester. Focusing on Dorchester for a couple minutes here. It's crazy what's going on in Dorchester.
There are people moving to, locations of Dorchester that, as I come up as a young man, I wouldn't consider, a place that traditionally, people chose to locate. People are staying in Dorchester. People are coming back to Dorchester. Areas around, Ashmont, the Peabody Square, very, very hot, as well as, down near the waterfront, Port Norfolk and St. Brendan's area, the classic Boston in me. We're gonna start talking about parishes,
Right.
It's great, as well as Lower Mills. Lower Mills is phenomenal. Right there around St. Gregory's.
And so you're seeing this switch, because when I lived in South Boston, in 2002 to 2006, even at that point in time, people were priced out of South Boston to go in there, get a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and pay upwards of $400,000 for that. That same product right now in South Boston is in the 5+. And so where are people going? Is it to Dorchester? And are people starting to get priced out of Dorchester now?
I haven't seen people priced out of Dorchester. I think people are choosing Dorchester. But
Because I mean, there simply isn't that many places to go. I mean, like we're talking about. I mean, people are getting pushed out of that because of that affordability index. I think they're getting pushed out, right? You're also seeing gentrification in Dorchester, tremendous gentrification in Dorchester, which obviously improves properties, makes it more attractive. There's additional restaurants that come in that makes these individuals get attracted to go there. You're seeing appreciation values there, right?
through the roof. And what you're seeing in Dorchester, particularly now, is it's not a new phenomenon or a new trend, but the traditional triple decker being condoed, much like Rosendale is seeing. You see a very, very low single family housing stock in Rosendale. So you put something maybe in the Peters Hill Arboretum area in Rosendale on the market right now, and like we're seeing everywhere, multiple offers, well over asking.